I'll be honest, going in, I knew next to nothing about Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. I mean, I've heard the songs, and that was about it. I mean, I was one of those kids who grew up listening to the oldies station as my mom would drive me to school. I didn't really listen to a lot of the newer stuff, and I still don't really listen to a lot of newer stuff, mostly because a lot of newer stuff that a lot of people consider to be popular is the same mass-produced crap that everybody likes to make fun of. But I digress. What really hooked me about this film, what really got me wanting to see it, was just simple curiosity. I mean, it was a simple case of the film not trying to draw you in based on spectacle or not trying to draw you in based on some sort of brand or franchise potential, but literally the simple case of, hey, you like this music? Want to know about the people who made it? Come on in. And really, that was kind of refreshing. Now, I was surprised to find out that this film is actually coming to us from Clint Eastwood. I mean, I did not expect Clint Eastwood to direct a musical, nor would anybody else. But coming out of it, it explains a lot of the stylistic choices because the film doesn't really feel like a musical, even though it is based on one. It feels a lot more like a straightforward biopic. Kind of reminded me of In His Life, the John Lennon story that was on TV back in the 2000s. In terms of pacing and development. That's really what it felt like. It just felt like something that lent itself more to being seen on television as like part of an event thingy than a full theatrical release, because it wasn't like, oh, we have a musical show-stopping number. It's just the songs that we know about were basically bridges from one scene to the next as we see Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons kind of slowly rise to popularity and the various drama that ensues while they're at the top and slowly begin going back to the bottom, the typical rise and fall sort of arc. However, the ending of the film felt like it came right out of nowhere. Felt like Clint Eastwood suddenly remembered that he was adapting a musical, and so the whole ending sequence is one big medley musical show-stopping number that leads into the end credits. And while it was a nice, well-shot, well-executed musical number, it clashed with the rest of the film stylistically. On a related note, you can definitely tell that there were some quirks about the film that were lifted from the stage version of Jersey Boys, and that was mainly seen through how occasionally you would have characters addressing the audience directly. Now, at the start of the film, they make you think that Tommy DeVito is going to be kind of the main narrator of the entire film, kind of being the one guiding us through the story. But then we suddenly have Bob Gaudio kind of narrating things for a good chunk of time, marking kind of a shift in focus, which kind of works stylistically because it's when he joined the group that everything starts to take off. But then the narrations kind of drop off for a good chunk of time as we're seeing them kind of rise in popularity. But then we have Nick, I gotta see what I wrote. Nick Mattiocci, I'm sorry if I'm butchering it, I do not speak Italian. But then you have that guy kind of narrating a flashback, explaining kind of the backstory of a certain scene in the film. And it was kind of weird, because not even Frankie Valli, kind of the lead singer, doesn't even really get a narration. He just gets a brief epilogue statement at the end of the film when you see the group being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Kind of reminded me of Ian McKellen's narration in Richard III, where he was also kind of talking to the audience directly, because that's how it was on the stage in the play. And it also allowed for some pretty powerful stuff, the whole idea of kind of establishing that the characters were able to break the fourth wall, because there's one really powerful shot in particular. Not really much of a spoiler, since, I mean, you could look this up. That's the thing with biopics. You can look up the information easily, so it's not really much of a spoiler, but it's basically a scene where Frankie Valli is mourning the loss of his daughter, and he's literally just sitting on a bench like this. And John Lloyd Young actually does a really good job here, because he literally just looks up, gives you this straight look. It communicates a sadness, like equal parts, yeah, I'm sad my daughter's died, but also equally saying, you have no idea, so don't even start. And that was really powerful. And that was definitely something that I could definitely tell that Eastwood managed to actually really arrange, because that's one of the things I like about his style, is that he's really able to give even certain shots just a lot of heart. And so that was really one of the more powerful shots of the film, in my opinion. As for the music, it's all really good. All the actors they have actually singing do a really good job. Apparently, they sang live on set, but it doesn't feel like they did the Tom Hooper thing, which again, probably a good thing. What also makes the music a little bit easier to swallow for some of the even more jaded people is that it's all diegetic. Now, when something is diegetic, it means it's coming from within the world of the movie. And I know some people think, oh yeah, some musicals are like that and it's kind of boring and stuff, but personally, I liked it. Granted, it did make the film feel a lot more like a biopic, and like I mentioned before, the songs more act as bridges from one scene to the next. I mean, yeah, they do have numbers, but it's not so much that it's just like a huge show-stopping number that you just hear playing out of nowhere, except during the ending. All in all, this is an amazing film. I mean, it's well shot, well edited, well acted, and well sung. And really, it's a good film to kind of cleanse your palate after seeing all the other blockbusters that have been making their ways into theaters. I mean, even as someone who's never seen the stage version of Jersey Boys and isn't even all that familiar with Frankie Valli, I got a lot out of this film. So if you're looking for something to kind of give yourself a break from all the explosion-addled blockbusters and the overcharged 3D ticket prices, then I highly recommend checking this film out. It's a nice emotional journey about a real performer. And that's something I think everybody can pretty much relate to in some regard. And so really, if you get the chance, see this film, you will not regret it. That said, I give Jersey Boys a 4 out of 5. So that's it for this episode of Romney's Reviews. Currently, I don't really have any screenings lined up for next week, so it's pretty much all up in the air. I mean, I'm looking at the films on my laptop on IMDb, and most of it is limited releases and a certain film by a certain filmmaker that I do not even wish to give the time of day. So if there's any films coming out this next week that you want me to take a look at, or a film that came out this summer that you feel I missed, let me know in the comments below. But until then, I'll see you all next time.